Hi, this is aareminer, and you can see here the riffles of my Jig sluice box combination. I have reduced the water flow to an absolute minimum, but it's still difficult to see the motion of the sand under the riffles. So I went to an old stamping mill nearby and took some tailings, and that what you can see sitting on top of the riffles now is this black fine powder that I got from there. These are the tailings from the stamping mill. I have just spread them in by hand, and now this motion of the material is very clearly visible. If you look at the edge of the riffles, you can see this back and forth motion of the sand by every pulse of the jig. So this is what I wanted to achieve. So what's the reason for this effort of jig and sluice combination? Jig is known to recover fine gold more efficient than a sluice, but it has also drawbacks. So that's classification that has to be more accurate. If you are going to move material with a high speed over a jig, the spoon to wash out everything, and so on. While a sluice needs a certain speed over the riffles to keep them clean, that they can work at all. If you don't have this speed, they pack up. Adding a jig pulse in the material between the riffles is helping them to clean up. So you need less water speed over the riffles, and they still remain so clean that they can recover also very fine gold. On top of that is the material between the riffles also acting as a natural riverbed or a fluid bed, however you want to call it. And you have a really smooth flow, a laminar flow of water over the riffles. This is the jig pump. On this pump I can adjust the volume per stroke, the frequency of the strokes, and the pressure, which is great. It is entirely driven from one of the pumps of the jet, so there is no need for an additional motor or something. Here is the grizzly. It's fractioning the material from 10 millimeters minus before the fine is guided under the deck. Down there is an option to regulate the speed of the water that is flowing over the riffles that we have seen before. On the upper deck I don't have anything at the moment because there is no coarse gold here, and it is just disturbing during the tests, get that stuff in and out, so I just removed it and let run the bigger rocks straight over it. This is the setup for catch the tailings. There's a bowl underneath and this screen, and I just want to explain you now what I'm planning. There is a stamping mill nearby, as I told you before, so I got 6 buckets of that very fine material that they left behind about 2 centuries ago, or even 3 centuries ago, and I Just stepped it into the river now to soak. I'm now filling the jig with material that when I start sucking up that fine stuff, that the bed is ready there. The material or the ground of the riverbed, has already been turned upside down by another dredging project, so there is no gold inside there. What I'm planning to do is to dump the 6 buckets onto the riverbed and suck it up with about 20 to 30 centimeters of that gravel that is just there. Again, it is actually tailing from a dredging project last year probably, but there is no gold inside. I have tried it before, and but for this test it is very good. I just want to figure out if I'm able to get some gold out of this very fine powder. We have tried to sieve it, and about 90 to 95% is 100 mesh minus, so it is really very fine. I don't know if you can see it here, but I have dumped this fine powder over an area of about 2.5 to 3 square meters onto the riverbed now, and I'm going to suck it up with full production speed, including about 20 to 30 centimeters of material, of gravel, whatever is there. In total, it will be about half a cubic meter, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, but that's what I'm planning to get up with this fine powder, and then we'll see what we can catch of it. I have run several tests similar like this, and with several setups, and one I could say for sure. The jet that I have on has a very sharp spray, similar to a pressure cleaner. Not so hard, because I never have the pressure of a pressure cleaner, but I can regulate the hardness of that spray with the pressure. And I found out as harder as I am spraying, that means as more pressure I have on the jet, and as less volume I'm pumping, I can regulate also that, as better is the recovery out of this fine powder. That means this spray of the jet is helping to break up that very fine powder and release the gold out of whatever particle it is attached to. Here you can see some of the result of these 6 buckets I was sucking up. And I say some because I could not find that fine gold out of the black sand. I had to hire somebody because my eyes are not anymore that good. This guy was sitting there for hours, and he did really his very best, but in the end he had to give up and told me we need other equipment if we want to analyze that stuff properly. The same is for the tailings. I know that we lost some, but how much, I would lie when I would say something at this stage. I tried to organize a microscope and make some very clear pictures to show, or also to know, how small these flitters are, because many of them are so small that even with a very good lens you cannot see them. To say it again, this was not material or concentrate from the stamping mill itself. It was definitely tailing, and there are hundreds or thousands of cubic meters up there, and we went just in the forest, in between in this forest, were digging a hole and took out some of this powdery stuff. So that was it for the moment. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see us again. Keep in track on aareminer. If you Google that, you will see all the videos I am loading up, or you can get in touch with me on the aareminer@bluewin.ch.